Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm stepping into the role of your principal investigator today, and let me tell you, I am absolutely thrilled to unpack our latest field survey data with all of you university biology students. We've just returned from compiling a massive ecological survey of the Amazon rainforest, and what we brought back, well, it goes way beyond your standard textbook definitions. We are looking at a living, breathing laboratory of extreme survival, totally intricate social networks, and an incredibly delicate biological equilibrium. This is your comprehensive field briefing, so grab your notebooks, get comfortable, and let's get started.
Okay, let's dive right into our methodology. We've got 6 distinct ecological modules on the docket today. We'll kick things off by establishing the baseline of the Amazonian biosphere itself. Then we'll get into the fun stuff, remarkable evolutionary adaptations and complex animal social structures. After that, we're mapping out keystone species and ecosystem dynamics, taking a hard, critical look at fragmentation and mining impacts. And finally, we'll project the future of the ecosystem based on our data.
Right, moving into Module 1, Field Survey of the Amazonian Biosphere. Truly understanding the sheer scale and function of this physical environment is absolutely critical before we can even begin to analyze the organisms living in it. So I want to hook your scientific curiosity right out of the gate. Think about this. The Amazon isn't just sitting there passively under some weather system. No, it's an independent, self-sustaining weather machine. When you're actually standing down on the forest floor, it's incredibly dark because of the dense canopy above. So how in the world does this single, massive biome manage to generate a staggering 75% of its own rainfall?
Well, our data center is heavily on transpiration. Basically, these trees act as massive hydraulic pumps. Our field observations track how they pull up water and emit vapor directly from their foliage. That moisture rises, it cools in the atmosphere, and then falls right back down, navigating that thick canopy to reach the dark forest floor. The crucial takeaway here is that this essential cycle of hydration, driven entirely by biological transpiration, is the exact engine that allows the entire understory to thrive.
And our survey data indicates this is definitely not some recent phenomenon. 50 million years. Just let that staggering timescale sink in for a second. That is exactly how long this vast expanse has been operating as the Earth's green lungs. For 50 million years, it's functioned as a massive natural carbon sink, absorbing millions of tons of carbon dioxide every single year and locking it safely away inside its complex network of organisms. Okay, moving on to Module 2, Remarkable Evolutionary Adaptations. Let's look at the morphological field observations we gathered on individual species survival. The evolutionary pressure out there is intense, and it drives some truly spectacular physiological responses. Our field logs rapidly cataloged the extreme evolutionary leaps these species have taken to just utterly dominate their specific niches. Take the glasswing butterfly, for example. Its scales completely lack pigment, which basically grants it structural invisibility against predators. It's wild to see in person. Then you have the margay, an arboreal wildcat with a 180-degree ankle rotation. This morphological adaptation allows it to literally descend trees headfirst, kind of like a squirrel. It gives it unmatched hunting agility in the canopy, and honestly, it made them an absolute logistical nightmare for our team to track. And of course, the poison dart frog. They utilize diet-derived aposematic coloration. Interestingly, our data shows their toxicity isn't innate at all. It's derived entirely from their wild diet, turning their incredibly vibrant skin into a lethal chemical warning.
But biological adaptation isn't just visual. Sometimes it's acoustic. The owl butterfly is super famous for those big eye spots on its wings, but it actually possesses specialized vocal organs right at the base of those wings. These tiny biological sensors can detect sound frequencies all the way up to 20,000 hertz. This gives the butterfly a massive sensory advantage, allowing it to quite literally hear predators coming long before they're ever seen. It acts exactly like a built-in early warning radar system.
Let's jump to Module 3, Complex Animal Social Structures. Zooming out from individual morphology, our field data reveals some incredibly intricate group dynamics. Because survival here isn't just about individual fitness, it is entirely about social engineering. Let's contrast two completely distinct primate behavioral models our team observed. On one side, you've got squirrel monkeys. They organize into these massive, hierarchical troops of up to 500 members. These are distinctly female-led, and as you can probably imagine, keeping track of that chaotic matriarchy requires the highest brain-to-body mass ratio of all primates just to handle the complex social navigation. But then, on the other side, we observed marmosets. They utilize this super tight, cooperative, shared parenting model centered around a dominant breeding pair that usually produces twins. The entire group, including males and siblings, shares the child-rearing load. Both models, the massive matriarchy and the tight communal family unit, are highly successful evolutionary strategies for surviving the canopy.
And let's see how this social engineering builds into avian populations. Our observations of macaw social structures show that communal lifestyles are absolutely essential for them. They form lifelong pair bonds, showing remarkable commitment to their partners, engaging in constant mutual grooming. But they also nest these partnerships within highly organized flocks of up to 30 individuals. Their loud squawks and calls maintain a strict social network, so they are constantly sharing data on food locations and providing an incredibly effective early warning system against aerial predators.
All right, Module 4, Keystone Species and Ecosystem. Next, we're shifting our focus to the macro-level ecosystem indicators. In this module, we are tracking the specific keystone species that shoulder the heavy burden of maintaining the biological equilibrium of the entire rainforest. Let's trace the nutrient cycle facilitated by the king vulture. As a biological recycler, this bird acts as a crucial health indicator for the whole habitat. Step 1. Using incredibly sharp vision, not smell mind you, it spots a carcass from 500 feet up in the air. Step 2. Utilizing a uniquely strong hooked beak, it tears open tough hides that the smaller scavengers simply can't penetrate. And Step 3. By consuming that carrion, the king vulture effectively halts the spread of bacterial diseases, actively protecting the health of the surrounding ecosystem. They are the ultimate cleanup crew. Down on the forest floor, we recorded a staggering data point: 30,000. That massive figure represents the daily insect consumption of a single giant anteater. Just one. Using a 2-foot-long sticky tongue, they systematically harvest ants and termites all day long. Without this continuous predatory pressure, those insect populations would absolutely decimate the forest's flora. The giant anteater really proves just how vital solitary keystone predators are for overall population control.
We also have to note the symbiotic relationship between fauna and flora. Frugivorous or fruit-eating species, like toucans, specifically target nutrient-dense fruits like cacao pods. But here is the brilliant ecological mechanism at play. They eat the sweet pulp and discard the bitter seeds, dropping them miles and miles away from the parent tree. The simple act of discarding those bitter seeds makes these frugivorous birds critical agricultural engineers. They're actively renewing the understory and maintaining floral biodiversity without even knowing it.
Module 5, Fragmentation and Mining Impacts. Unfortunately, a comprehensive field log can't only focus on biological triumphs. We must impartially address the acute anthropogenic or human-caused threats that are compromising this ecosystem's resilience. Analyzing the raw data from our threat assessment report, we observed 3 major vectors of disruption. First, mercury runoff from gold extraction operations is directly introducing heavy metals into the aquatic web, which impacts everything from the fish to the local communities relying on those rivers. Second, habitat fragmentation, mostly driven by logging and infrastructure, literally shatters the contiguous living spaces required by arboreal mammals like sloths and margays. It severely limits their genetic exchange. Third, the illegal wildlife trade actively depletes specific populations, notably those highly social birds like macaws, destabilizing the intricate reproductive networks we discussed earlier. Furthermore, our satellite data clearly shows the impact of intentional land clearing fires for agriculture. This acts as a devastating double-edged sword. Not only does the fire immediately destroy localized habitats and push species toward the brink, but the combustion process simultaneously emits massive quantities of stored carbon dioxide. So a vital carbon sink is suddenly inverted into a massive carbon emitter, directly accelerating global atmospheric warming. Finally, Module 6, Future of the Ecosystem. Let's conclude our field survey by contextualizing our findings. Why does the data collected in this remote basin matter to biology students sitting thousands of miles away? Well, 20%. That is the estimated contribution of the Amazonian biosphere to the total oxygen generated globally. The undeniable reality here is a massive global dependency on this single, fragile region. The biological mechanics we've surveyed today, from that massive transpiration cycle to keystone recycling, are exactly what keep this massive oxygen and carbon-regulating engine running for the entire planet. I'm going to leave you with this final thought straight from our field log summary. The Amazon is a living, breathing entity that sustains life on a global scale. Considering all the brilliant evolutionary adaptations, the complex social networks, and the incredibly delicate ecological balances we've explored today, what role will you play in ensuring this ecosystem survives its next 50 million years? Thank you so much for joining me in the field today for this explainer. Keep asking questions and keep exploring the data.